What's going on, YouTube? JT's born here with my friend Jordan. We just got out of seeing Marvel's Black Widow, a film that should have come out like 5 or 6 years ago, but because people demanded it, they're just like, fuck it, we'll just throw this thing out there, which is more about setting up like Florence Pugh's character for future Marvel stuff than it is about telling a really interesting Black Widow story. This is a midquel. And because of what happens to Black Widow in Avengers Endgame, there's no real stakes, there's no real suspense, and it's just kind of a meh movie, in my honest opinion. I came away with this thing like even the trailers didn't really quite wow me. I'm like, well, you know, maybe if this came out a few years ago, like there would have been more suspense or intrigue, but it comes out now, it's got really bland, boring villains. The other actors are pretty good, like Black Widow and her family. Like I said, they, at least bring some charisma to it. Action sequences are not very good. Everything is really shaky cam, blurry, quick cut editing, which is just kind of annoying at this point.
It seems like the cheapest of the Marvel movies.
Despite like hundreds of millions of dollars being thrown in. Like, it just doesn't feel exciting. Like, even like towards the end of the ending climax, like it was a chance to do something kind of exciting with the action. Just goes really standard, really kind of generic, like not interesting. Like there's nothing really unique about this movie that I'm going to quite remember. Some of the actors are good, like Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Rachel Weisz, Scarlett Johansson. All four of them they're solid actors. This film lacks a really strong antagonist. We have the Winter Soldier.
I don't even know who the villain is in this movie.
Yeah, like Dark.
I don't remember her name or his name.
Right. You have
Darko or something.
Yeah, something like that. You have Taskmaster, who's basically a fill-in for the Winter Soldier, but less interesting. Yeah, I just came away with this thing just like, meh. I saw this thing once. I have no real interest in seeing it again. It's not a truly awful movie or anything. Like, it's kind of like it's a movie that leaves little impact, and that's kind of like the worst thing. Like, I would rather sit back and watch Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin.
Oh.
You know why? Let me tell you why. That is a really bad movie, but at least it's funny and entertaining. At least the sets are interesting. The locations are intriguing. Like everyone's overacting, and it's a disaster, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't really fun to watch. Like, from an action point of view, it's not really exciting. The locations, everything just looks really generic action spy thriller type deal that we've seen before.
Did you like the Moonraker plug in there?
Well, I was fine with a little bit of a Moonraker plug. I do like James Bond, and like this feels like a less interesting James Bond movie. Like I said, there's a lot of this movie that really kind of drags and gets kind of dull and boring. Like, it's like, what was it that made Winter Soldier like so much more interesting than this thing? I mean,
let's be honest. This is your like 8th favorite Avenger, 9th favorite Avenger. I don't know where she falls in the rankings, but Winter Soldier, you have Cap, who's probably 1 or 2, and she doesn't really tell very many jokes like Captain America does. Like, Steve Rogers is a funny guy. Did Natasha tell a joke once in this movie, Scarlett Johansson?
I guess.
I mean, her sister was there more for comedic relief than she was.
Right, and like this movie felt like, hey, let's set up her appearance in like a solo Marvel spin-off TV Disney Plus series. Like, oh, hey, you're a character who was it like Falcon and the Winter Soldier? And then that was like one of the post-credit scenes or whatever. I can't remember their names because, like I said, I'm watching the Disney Plus shows. Like, Loki's supposed to end next week. Loki's more interesting than this. Like, this is just
comments.
Oh, you haven't watched any of them?
No.
So, like, WandaVision's not very good. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is kind of a mixed bag. It's still more interesting than this movie was. And Loki's the best of the three. Not amazing or anything like that, but at least like Loki's really charismatic and it's kind of a unique, like, with what it's doing. But this just feels like a filler movie, and I don't like filler episodes can be fun for TV shows sometimes. Like, if like they'll have some like something that's not really like adds to the overall story, but it's still kind of a fun story to go through. This is not really fun. Like, it's not like really it doesn't really get you too emotional or anything like that. I think a lot of it has to do with the antagonists, because the antagonists are so forgettable and so bland and boring, like no personality to them whatsoever, like generic bad guy. Taskmaster is just a less interesting version of Winter Soldier.
The fight scene with Taskmaster and Black Widow is like 30 seconds as well. It's not long at all.
Right, it's not really long, and again, this kind of goes to my complaint with the action sequences. It's all that fast-paced, quick-cut editing nonsense that you see in like so many other things. Like, why can't I get something great like a John Wick? Like John Wick, like there's like, you know, there's no quick cut edits in John Wick. You see everything in camera, and it's fun and it's exciting. Like, there's some quick action in there, like hand-to-hand combat, but you can see everything like crystal clear.
Well, truth be told, Scarlett Johansson is, I think, actually like a 3rd or 4th degree black belt. She'd probably just make the other girls look bad, to be honest.
Right, but still, like, I'd still like to see that, because, like, we've seen some bits of Black Widow doing some better action in other Marvel movies. Like I said, Captain America: The Winter Soldier had more exciting action. I mean, there's some quick edits, but, like, this was, like, it just felt kind of worse. Like, I just felt like, maybe it's because I just felt kind of nothing for this movie kind of going into it and leaving it, because there's, like, no excitement by the time this thing was done.
The family drama in this movie was probably the most forced thing, because it's like these characters you barely even know.
You really don't know. Like, they're just kind of like thrown in here like, oh, hey, we were here too.
Yeah.
Remember the Avengers? Remember when she went off and did these other more exciting things?
Yeah.
There's no other Avengers really cameoing in this movie outside of stock footage. But man, it was just like, oh, I mean, I guess I could see why we didn't like film this movie, like have this movie beforehand, because it's just kind of dull. It's just a dull filler movie, and it just kind of left me just leaving. Like, I'm not really gonna want to have any desires to go back and kind of rewatch this thing like some of the other MCU films. Nothing against really the actors involved. I thought the 4 of them were pretty solid. Like, there's some funny bits thrown in throughout this movie, but it just kind of leaves you like wanting more, wishing that this thing came out a few years ago when we didn't know what was going to happen with Black Widow and Avengers Endgame. Like, having this thing come out after a character dies just to kind of have like a filler side mission, really was about setting up kind of like these other characters to do stuff in the future. That to me was just like, instead of the main title character of Black Widow, I don't know, it just didn't really do much for me. There's some dumb moments in here that, like, there's one scene where like David Harbour is getting a tattoo while he's arm wrestling, and I'm like, why are you
kind of amusing?
It's amusing, but like, if you're getting a tattoo, like, you want to be still, otherwise it's gonna get like scribbled. Like, how somebody can like give a tattoo while they're moving constantly is beyond me.
Well, you know, he's in prison, so he might not care about the quality of the art. So
I don't know.
They
like,
never show a tattoo again either in the movie. Did you notice?
Right, because he has to, like, we have like that 5-minute sequence of him trying to put on his costume again because you got fat. Haha, that's the joke. He's fat.
Was this a character that's been in Marvel for a while? I don't ever know.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not as invested in the Marvel universe like I used to be. Like, especially like nowadays. Like, because I just feel like really kind of all the movies since Avengers Endgame, even Avengers Endgame's not a movie. Like, I like the 3rd act, but like by the time that movie was done, I just kind of felt like even kind of underwhelmed to some aspects. Like, there's some elements I loved in Endgame, and then like other bits I'm just like, man, really nothing has wowed me since Avengers Infinity War. Like, I loved Avengers Infinity War. Then after that we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I didn't like. Then we got Captain Marvel, which I didn't really like. Then we got Avengers Endgame, which is kind of mixed, but I'm like not really too huge into it. Then what do we get? Spider-Man Far From Home, which I only watched once because I didn't like. So you're noticing a trend here where I'm slowly just kind of becoming like less and less interested as the core like Avengers are leaving this universe, and like the characters that I kind of grew up along with, you know, and that exciting build up to like the whole Infinity Saga. Post Infinity Saga, it just feels like, you know, did you ever watch Power Rangers growing up?
No.
It kind of feels like post Power Rangers in space. Like, we just got through the whole Zordon era, and then we go into Lost Galaxy, and you kind of have to form new connections with a whole new team. And there's previous characters that do kind of show up, but it's kind of off doing its own thing anymore. But you don't have that like long-term investment like you'd had before. Now we're just into something new. It feels kind of foreign and like unknown. And I'm trying to get into it. We're getting some of these like characters getting spin-off shows. And
I think a better comparison for most people would be, it's like going from the NFL to freshman football or something like that. You have these big established actors. Now you have Black Widow and her friends you don't even really know.
Right, who are just like, who've never been mentioned at all to this point, and we're just like, okay, here we go. She wanted this whole big event, like a little mission that has no real implications or like tie-ins to like, well, like I said, like it left so little impact that it's never referenced in the other movies at this point.
Like, they're gonna make Elena into her own thing, and we just never saw her this whole time.
Right, like it just. No other Avengers showed up. There's not even like a fun little like Captain America appearance or anything like that. Well, because I think he's like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm spent. And it just,
That is kind of funny they couldn't get a single person to show up.
Right, and I remember hearing rumors that Robert Downey Jr. was supposed to come back for his last time, but he's like, nope, I'm unfollowing all the Marvel actors on social media, and I'm getting the hell out of here.
That was pretty funny. I didn't know he disliked them that much.
I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things that just kind of happened, but like Robert Downey Jr. just seems like, he's like, I'm done. I had my cool, like, final goodbye. And really, I just kind of want this, I'm just kind of at the point where I just want the MCU to kind of end. The only...
Well, guess what, Sean?
It's going to keep
It's
going.
not.
It's not. They're going to keep going. Here's the only thing. I'll tell you the only things left that kind of interest me. I didn't like the last Spider-Man movie, but the only thing that has me intrigued is that apparently Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Willem Dafoe, and all the things from Spider-Man movies that I loved are coming back. By Spider-Man movies I loved, I meant the Sam Raimi films. Amazing Spider-Man films. The glorious ones. That's the only thing that has me there. And the only reason I'm excited for Doctor Strange 2 is because Sam Raimi is directing it. Other than that, I don't really have any real interest in what's left in this universe. Maybe Blade, but they're not going to do an R-rated Blade in the MCU. We just know that already. So, other than that, I just want to get to the end already. I'm like, when is this thing going to end? It's been 25, 26 movies at this point. And like now we're just getting like everything's like it's so like factory produced. It's like it's got, you know, basic formula, a few jokes here and there to kind of like keep people from being entirely like bored the whole way through. Generic action.
I will say they did make fun of their stupid poses they do in this movie.
Right. That was kind of funny.
That was funny. There's self-awareness.
There's some self-awareness.
They gotta wear
like I said,
so
the actors, like the main four, are fine. Like I have no issues with their acting in there. It's just kind of the story and the execution kind of around the whole thing that just kind of left a lot to be desired. Like when this thing started out, I'm like, okay, this looks like it's gonna be kind of interesting. The way we're kind of flashing back to all of this. I don't know. Part of me kind of has a hard time believing David Harbour is that much older than everyone else. But I mean,
also they're from Ohio. I had no idea. That just seems like a very unexciting location
for
the Spy family to be from.
That's one of their little missions or whatever. Yeah.
All these Ohioan terrorists.
Right. Whatever it is. I mean, and the one guy is always talking about how he's Captain America's rival, even though Cap was frozen like while he's been in prison.
It's true. How would Cap even really know who that guy is?
Right, exactly. It's just like, I guess it's just him making up stories for attention. There was one part where he snapped a dude's arm.
He did break that guy's arm. That was pretty funny.
That was pretty cool.
The arm wrestling scene was one of the better scenes in the movie, I thought.
What's that?
The arm wrestling was one of the better scenes in that movie.
Right, I'm just having a hard time believing, like, why is he, like, with the tattoo? Like, literally, it should just, like, no, it would have been funny if the tattoo was, like, a complete scribble or something.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been funny, but, like, here it's just, like, it's, like, perfectly fine. It's like, why is it like that? Is there anything you want to add to this movie?
I feel like it was like a 45 to 50 minute movie. They kind of fluffed it. Because that family drama scene, that lasted probably like 15 minutes.
Oh, I know. It just kept
There was
going.
a lot of exposition in
Right,
this
and
movie.
like, there's not much interesting stuff that we really find out about Black Widow. And then, like, okay, she had a family. Okay, it's the whole Red Room thing, which, you know, we've already like figured out based on some of the other movies. We never do find, like, there's the whole thing, like, she's like, oh, you know my mother? And then we don't really find out who her mother is. So, like, okay, why dangle the keys in front of us?
They were watching The Last Jedi. That's why.
Oh, okay.
You know, the parents don't matter apparently.
Yeah.
You can tease these all you want.
And then it's not gonna matter or anything like that. Oh man, I'm just checked out. Like,
you know, what was the villain's plan in this movie? He said he had all these like widows he was going to do things with, but I don't.
Right,
I don't actually know what he was trying to do.
And then he's finally like, "Oh, I will take control of an Avenger." Oh yeah, let's get to that stupid reason that like he's able to like control somebody. See, my cologne allows me to mind control you, or like the pheromones in my water. Like what kind
Did you notice too how many like Deus Ex Machinas were in this? Like the parachute was perfectly placed,
Right.
and all the anti-mind control devices were just conveniently there. They have been at least 3 or 4 times. In this movie.
Right. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, it's like, oh, my cologne can mind control you or something. Like, what is
We
this?
just have this antidote right here conveniently.
Right, it's like, oh, you gotta break your nose for it to kind of work. I don't know. I just like,
Why didn't she do that before she got in there? That was the other thing I didn't understand.
I don't know, to get close to him or something. But she
She could have just faked her way through it the whole
well,
time.
I mean, she had to fake her face in that, but like as soon
No,
as
she didn't.
no, she had to because like to get into the room alone with him.
She could have had a broken nose when she put that camouflage on.
Well, because she was trying to play up as the Rachel Weisz character or whatever to like fool everyone into this thing. Why they didn't really let everyone else know is beyond me. But what? Oh yeah, no, I remember why they didn't let everyone else know, because it would have ruined the plan. But then they gave this. It doesn't matter. It happened. There's just some dumb, stupid stuff in this thing, and it just leaves you wanting more. That's kind of where my thoughts are with Black Widow. It just left me wanting a more interesting movie. I don't really have an interest in going back and watching this thing. I'm just kind of checked out of the MCU pretty much. I'm just kind of like, because I've been in it so long, I'm just kind of coasting through, seeing what's happened. Like, I'm not really intrigued at what they're going to do next. I mean, I'll just watch stuff just to watch stuff. And then, like, it's just, maybe that's the problem, though, is like, we just consume it like it's content. It's just content anymore. There's no real substance, it feels like, anymore. It just feels like it's just kind of there. And just, like, it lacks the excitement anymore. I just don't really care so much about what's happening. I just kind of want, I want to know that we're leading to a finale at some point, because it's been going on since 2008. At least the Fast and Furious movies, those have been going on for 20 years, but like Vin Diesel, they were like, we only have 2 more movies left. I mean, at least he says they're building towards a finale. This one, I'm just like, we've had 20 plus movies. We've had all these shows. There's got to be an ending. Like, at some point, they got to run out of shit to do. Like, I want a finale.
Well, I mean, the comics ran out of shit to do, 30, 40 years ago, and that hasn't stopped them. In fact, they were...
Yeah, this is true. But, like, this is the film, TV, whatever universe at this point. Like, I want a true finale to a series. Like, I feel like with superhero stuff, we don't really get that. The only thing we got a true finale in was the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah. At least
Did
we got
though?
Yeah. No, that's...
It kind of was open-ended.
Well, like, I mean, but it's still an ending. Like, it's beginning, middle, like, Nolan's like, we're done. We kept it at 3. Christian Bale's not back as Batman unless he somehow miraculously cameos in the Flash movie, which, I don't think that's going to happen.
That doesn't sound very Bale-like, no.
Right. I mean, Christian Bale's the villain in Thor 4, so that should be interesting, I guess.
Oh, that's right. They're making another one of those, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is it like, aren't they going to get rid of Thor after this and like...
Well, Thor's apparently going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 as well, so...
But aren't they going to do the female Thor thing or something like that? That wonderful comic series?
I don't know. I haven't read it. I've heard some people like it, some people don't. It just...
I mean, people who still read Marvel comics will like anything, so...
right. I don't really read it, but... All right, well, with that said, I'm barely interested in what's happening with the MCU anymore. Like, I just watch it because it's just something to watch, but...
I give it a 6 out of 10. I mean, the main characters, they're kind of hot, so there's that. And there's some decent action. There's not really many jokes. I appreciate more of them. But,
It's a Met out of 10 for me, like a 4.5 out of 10. Or 4. I'm going Bret Hart, 4 out of 10 for
man.
this thing. That's what I mean. I just left this thing like I struggled to stay awake for some of it. I mean, there's some good actors in there, but it just wasn't an engaging story. It's just a forgettable midquel, and I feel like Black Widow, who's been around in this universe since Iron Man 2, deserved a much more interesting movie.
Actually, I think that's pretty par for the course for her.
Right.
Did she ever do anything that interesting in these movies to begin with?
Iron Man 2 is not like she started getting more interesting in the first Avengers movie, and then like I liked her in Winter Soldier probably the most. And
well, I did enjoy the fact too that they also made fun of her for being like the 7th Avenger too, because they're like, there's the big Avengers like Thor who don't eat ibuprofen after fights.
Yeah, like her sister was funny. Like, I mean, she's probably the best thing in the movie. Like, to be honest, like so that's that. All right, well, we've been rambling on for like 20 minutes. We got stuff to do.
I was born a rambling man. We're gonna bust out the song, right?
If we're gonna bust out a song, we have to sing American Pie, because they apparently they sing that in this movie a few times.
Oh yeah, they do like that song in this movie.
Yes.
Just nonsense. But what was with the deal with that like soft rock cover Smells Like Teen Spirit? That was terrible.
It wasn't very good at all. So I'm like, you should have just used Smells Like Teen Spirit. Like, if you're gonna use it instead of some like shitty cover.
Yeah.
But all right, so there you go. That's where we're gonna end this thing on. Like, why that shitty soft rock cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit? And why is this thing such a bland, forgettable movie? But yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining me.
Like and subscribe to his channel.
Yes, hit that bell for
He
notifications.
watches a lot of crappy movies for your entertainment.
I do watch a lot of movies. So, and sometimes people join me in watching those movies. So, thank you very much, sir.
Anytime.
All right. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then. And we'll see you all in the next video. Peace.